for us.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Good talk.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you want to say?
Prayer.
All right. Hello. Okay. So, course 2, class 7, right? Gotcha today. The thing that we deny.
And let's start with the prayer.
Okay.
And let's do it today in Tibetan. Tibetan is cool. And because so many Tibetans, and actually same in India, right? They would do it in Sanskrit. So these prayers, they have special power because they kind of contain blessing of all these generations who were hoping to reach enlightenment for the sake of other living beings. Okay, and the first prayer is what we were doing before, saying that, okay, I don't want my seeds bank account to be, drained, correct?
You can drain it of the negative stuff.
Yeah, I want to
seeds.
reinvest my good seeds. And the second, this is why, as a pay for this class, I'm not giving money, I'm giving the results of my good deeds, the paradise that I will create. And the second is about the fact that I will use emptiness and seeds, basically, to reach it. Yeah, I will do it, okay? And if you do not know how to make this mountain, so you just put your
it's going to look like a plate of
fingers.
spaghetti to people on the internet.
Yeah, okay. The ring fingers together, then you cross your, how you call this finger?
Which ones? The middle finger?
The middle finger you cross, and then you grab with your index fingers, right? And you cross in the same way the other finger. So you create the mountain.
And if you can't get that at home through the internet, just you can hold your hands like that and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it in Tibetan. Sashi puki jukshin metoktram rira blingshin yende yampadi sangye shindu nikte olagi trokun nanda shinra chupar shok idam guru ratna mandala kamniyatayami Sangye chudang soki choknam ha Changshu badu dakni katsuchi Daki chunyen gipe sananki Drola penchir sangye drupa shok Sangye chudang soki choknam la Changshu badu dakni katsuchi Daki chunyen gipe sananki Drola pinchir sangye drupa shok Sangye chudang soki choknam la Janchu bardu dakni kyotsuchi Daki chunyen gipe sananki Drola pinchir sangye drupa shok. It doesn't matter which language you do. I just happen to love Tibetan. You can just think, even just close your eyes and think all these ideas like, I want to create a paradise using this emptiness and seeds, and this is my pay for these classes. Basically, that's it. Okay, let's go. You want to start?
Yeah, doing the prayers in Tibetan reminds me of Ken Rinpoche. That was Geshe Michael's teacher. And I was able to study with him for 3 years before he passed in 2004. And when you went to his classes, it was all it was straight up, unapologetically, no excuses Tibetan. And the teaching was Tibetan style. The texts were in Tibetan, and
Practices in Tibet.
practices were in Tibetan. His main practice was to memorize the prayers in Tibetan, and Geshe Michael was such a pioneer, right? Like the first generation of English-speaking people to get the information, and he's done such a good job of it, because it was, I mean, frankly, it was hard when it was in Tibetan. It was hard to get the meaning.
I have his books in Tibetan, and I'm like, wow, we really make progress from this.
Yeah.
Where like I need to spend, I don't know, to get the meaning of several pages, I probably need to spend the whole day. Now we have it straight in English, and everything is clear.
And the professors in the universities were pioneers also, but I don't think they understood the material really very well, to be honest.
Some of it, right?
Some of it, they were very, very smart, obviously. And they were translating these difficult texts from Tibetan into English, but they weren't getting anywhere near as far as what Geshe Michael's gotten, and then for the way he's made it practical is quite extraordinary, which is why I recommend people to watch the courses online. And people said, oh, well, why would I watch Geshe Michael online? And it's, well, like, yeah, I can give you the material, but it's like getting to watch, Jimi Hendrix or the Beatles or whatever, like you don't hear the song just once. It's nice to hear it over again. And he's the master.
So we invite you to come to Schwänzen Tower class that will be right after our class. We will give a link in the chat. And this is where you can hear Geshe Michael translating. I mean, this is his, you want to go deeper? This is the deepest project because you can see him online translating straight from Tibetan and Sanskrit. And if you have any doubts where it comes from, and if somebody is making it up, then you can, your doubts will be resolved, right?
Yeah.
Because it's magical for me what he does. And also, you can go to his Lamrim classes. There will be Lamrim in April, 12 to 21. We will go to Diamond Mountain. Also, we'll be there listening to Geshe Michael teachings. So, yeah, you can get while he is with us still. He is already 71.
That sounds right.
Yeah, 71. So try to listen to him as much as you can. Okay, let's go. So our today's sexy class name is Proofs of Emptiness, and
no, this is the Gaksha. Proofs of Emptiness is the next one.
It starts with the Gaksha.
Okay.
Because we will have 3 classes about proofs of emptiness, and it starts with the definition of Gaksha. Okay, let's go. And thank you very much to Alina, who has created beautiful slides. We were almost crying little Gaksha yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what it is. You can see it has paws and
Paws.
fangs.
Yeah, paws. Yeah. Talons on his fingers. So why do we have a picture of the funny little guy up there? Because the Gaksha is what we deny. It's something that doesn't exist. It's what emptiness is empty of, right? So we have a wrong idea of how things are, and that thing doesn't exist.
And I mean, probably we had to say that now this is coming almost the most important idea in these teachings, because it took me a while to understand that non-existing things can influence us. Because I was thinking, okay, if something doesn't exist, so why would I care, right? I mean, and it's actually wrong. If you know somebody who is really jealous, then maybe you have an idea that a person can think about something non-existent. I don't know, maybe a jealous wife or a jealous husband can think about their partner cheating on him, and they don't, and they have all this wild imagination, like his wife or her husband going to somebody, and it just does not exist. But oh boy, how it can affect people. So in the same way, gaksha is something that does not exist, cannot exist, never existed, but it spoils, it destroys our basically lives, literally. I mean, because of it, we die.
Yeah, all of your mental afflictions are focused at something that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So, and the emptiness is something like what the emptiness is empty of, and this is what it is empty of.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the definition.
Gotcha. Do you want to read the formal one? Okay.
Yeah. So if we do not know what a self-existent object would look like, if it did exist, then we can never come to realize the emptiness, because it is empty of it. It consists of the absence of this non-existent thing. So the self-existent object is known as the object we deny. Gak cha. Gak is to stop, and cha is like action in Tibetan. Interesting, you will see this gakcha also with some other connotation. For example, if you will study lion's dance, then at the end of every level, you will deny something. Like you will decide, for example, first you just close your eyes and you listen to the noise outside, to all the stimulus to your to all the sense objects, right? Or everything that stimulates your sense powers, you try to detect them, and then you decide, I don't listen to it anymore. I don't hear. I don't feel anymore anything. I close my eyes. I don't have anything to do with the external world. And this external stuff will be the object you deny also. And you will go level by level in the lion's dance by denying something that this level represents. So, and it will also be called gaksha. So it's the object that we deny, but in our class, we deny something that emptiness is empty of. Non-existent, impossible object. Let's give another example of gaksha.
Okay, the classic one. So we have the two husbands in the kitchen, right?
Yeah,
So
the one that I didn't do anything, and he yells at me.
Yeah. I didn't do anything. And the husband that's yelling at me because he's angry, and the husband that's
because he had a difficult day at work.
Yeah, that husband.
And I didn't do anything.
And I didn't do anything. I was just cleaning the house, and he came home and yelled at me. That husband. And then there's the husband that's coming from the fact that I yelled at the kids last week.
The
So-
second husband.
So the second husband. So of the two husbands, which one of them is the gotcha?
The first one.
Yeah, the one that husband could have never existed. And boy, it sure looks like he exists. He's unpleasant, but he can't exist because if he existed, everybody would be perceiving him exactly the same way all the time, right? But it's not the case.
Yeah. Another example is like when you, I don't know. Okay, probably we can do with the credit card, right?
Yeah, I guess you'll did the Discover credit card that doesn't work.
Yeah, and Discover is a very funny credit cards. I remember in Ukraine we have a very similar one. I think it was called Electron, like would work half of cases. And so it's a card that is given like to everybody, as far as I understand, in the US, like students, you know, and sometimes you cannot even pay with this card because there were too many issues, and some restaurants even they specifically say we do not accept this kind of cards. And then imagine I would have this type of a credit card, and not only I had the credit card that does not work, but I forgot it at home. And then I come to the restaurant. It happened to me actually a couple days ago. I came to a cafe. I invited our friend Katya with me, and I realized that I don't have a card to pay. And you know, a person who early it was only about something like purse or credit cards. Now, you know, a person who left somewhere their phone, like,
Yeah.
and you realize that probably he or she left their phone somewhere. So, and I started to look for, and I realized that I just forgot my bag with all my cards, not only this particular card. So, and so the gotcha is first, it is something that cannot exist, like a Discovery credit card. I mean, I have nothing to Discovery, just an example, right? So we can say about Electron that cannot be used. A good card that does not exist. And not only that, it is not in my pocket. So this is what emptiness is, empty of this non-functional, impossible card.
Yeah.
Or another example that I really love because it's so crazy is like if I would say, yeah, oh my love, look, we have an elephant in our room, you know, and he will not look out to see because I mean it's crazy to have an elephant in the room, right? But the gotcha is not only the elephant non-existent in our room. The gotcha is something like pink, two-headed, 10 feet. Okay, 10 feet probably.
100 feet.
100 feet.
Yeah.
100 feet, I don't know.
30 meters. 40 meters tall.
40 meters tall, yeah. Elephant rampaging in our room, you know. Thing that cannot exist, never existed.
Yeah, because theoretically,
Impossible.
and theoretically, you could get an elephant in the room, right? Theoretically.
Yeah. Theoretically, you could have a credit card in your pocket.
Yeah.
But this is something that impossible, completely impossible. And the person yelling at me because I didn't do anything is completely impossible.
Yeah, it's not just an elephant that isn't in the room. It's a two-headed purple 40-meter tall elephant that isn't in the room. It's that impossible.
So, but the funny thing is that when we perceive things as self-existent, the fact does not exist, but it does influence us, and it creates all kinds of negative consequences for us. Because we yell back at the husband that I didn't do anything. Because of I didn't do anything, I do not realize that if I stop yelling at my kids, my husband will stop yelling at me. I continue yell at my kids. I yell at my husband. Next week, somebody else yells at me. Next week, I don't know, my boss yells at me. And not only I reinvest into this vicious circle, but it is getting, it grows actually dramatically because seeds are growing with time.
Yeah, the cause and effect husband, the husband created by prior causes, and as a result, the dependently originating husband, if you like the fancier term, the husband that depends on prior events or parts or different types of things, that husband does exist, right? It's the husband that exists from his own side that doesn't exist. And then that's useful because a cause and effect husband, you can change. You can use the 4 steps to change the cause and effect husband. It's not random.
Or 4 powers.
Or 4 powers.
Stop yelling at kids.
Okay, and right, the 4 steps are how you create karma, and the 4 powers are how you get rid of old bad karma, right? But
let's do it fast. Maybe we have some newcomers.
Okay.
So 4 steps to get something you want. First, decide what you want, describe it in a simple sentence, short and understandable. Should be very clear, measurable. Second, you find another person to help with this, with the same problem, and you create a plan how you can help this person. Third, you just do it. You meet every week and try to help at the very least for 1 hour. And fourth, the most important part is you are happy that you have done something for another person. Like, for example, how I planted seeds to meet my husband. I was going to a nursing home to share my time with an old lady, to visit her. She was very happy to see me. And I was trying to be her ideal partner, perfect partner for this 1 hour that I could visit her every week. I mean, sometimes I didn't do every week because I was traveling, but I did my best. So, and then the rest of the week I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, she was so happy. I made somebody a little bit happy on this planet, It's a great seed to plant. And also I was thinking that because everything is empty, then I really can get my result, right? And I did. And Bill did the same from his side. So 4 powers is when you have something in your life that you do not like. And as Geshe Michael, I like how he's saying, like, if you think you have problems, you just don't know problems that the person next to you has. And if you would know, I mean, somebody on this call has the level of issues, you would cry if you would hear them. But of course, we have problems. How to get rid of these problems? First, remember where things come from. Remember emptiness and seeds, right? Okay, if something bad happens to me, I must have planted a seed in the past to have it. Something similar, like somebody yells at me, probably I was yelling at somebody else, or at the very least, I was unhappy with somebody. I was angry at somebody. And then power number 2, I regret. It is called intelligent regret, because I do not feel guilt. I just think I wouldn't do it again. It does not feel great when somebody yells at you, and the only person who will suffer from it is me. It was just an obvious stupidity, and I regret that I have done it. There is no guilt. It's just awareness about the stupidity I have done. That's it.
You've made a mistake. It's not that you're a bad person. It's more like you drank poison accidentally, and you did something out of ignorance, and you're regretting that, right?
And power number 3, naturally, you decide you will not do it again. And this is the real power behind the 4 powers, right? I will not do it again. I will stop. And the power number 4 is called the power of the antidote. And this is when you say, okay, I need to repair the damage in order to stop the seeds effectively, then I will do something that is opposite from the damage, from the harm that I made to somebody. Like if I yelled at somebody, maybe I will go and apologize, or maybe I will share with that it's good idea to stop yelling at other people. Maybe I will study ACI 7 about Gaksha, and will use this as an antidote. So I also wanted to talk about illusion, because Geshe Michael, during this class, he is talking about illusions, and I think it is important.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about gotchas?
Okay, let's go. We can go. We can cover illusions often.
How long do we have until Swanson Tower?
Until 9, 1 hour.
Okay, I don't think we'll talk a whole hour. We'll give you a break. But this school, remember we've talked about the different schools of thought on emptiness, right? Abhidharma, Sutrist, mind only, and then there's the middle way, right? The highest school. And then the middle way is divided into lower middle way and highest middle way. And we're in the lowest middle way. These teachings are coming from, there's 2 types of perfection of wisdom, right? There's the perfection of wisdom of a bodhisattva who has the direct perception of emptiness. And there's the perfection of wisdom that is one of the 5 main courses in the Geshe course. This one is, and so in the perfection of wisdom, we are lower middle way school. Svatantrika, right, as opposed to the higher middle way school, which is Madhyamika Prasangika. So there's Madhyamika Svatantrika, lower way, Madhyamika Prasangika, higher way. But Geshe is just starting to refer to them. I think it's easier, lower middle way and higher middle way. And so the lower middle way school is the 50-50 school, right? And what do we mean by 50-50? It means that when you're looking at something, It's
I call this school my psychotherapy teacher's school.
yeah, okay, here we go. Let me get the pen. It's over here. This is fun.
Mhm.
So according to the lower middle way school, you're looking at this and it disappears on my jacket, right? But you're looking at the pen, maybe there you go. It gets, and what you're seeing is long and black, but you're thinking pen, right? So according to the lower middle way school, when you're looking at this, your mind is thinking pen, and the long and black is really there. It's actually there. That there, the lower middle way school is going to say it's half the person looking at it, and half the object that's actually out there. And then the higher middle way school is going to say that, well, no, actually, if you start looking for the long and the black, you're not going to find that either. That's going to disappear. And it's really interesting. There's these new videos that have been showing up on the internet, and they've got some kind of really powerful camera. Have you seen these yet? Where they'll start out, and there's one where it's looking at this cup of coffee, right? From the top, and it just looks normal, like a cup of coffee sitting on a table, and it's got foam on it and a brown cup and a brown table. And as it goes in, it gets closer, and the table disappears, and it's just a cup, and then it's just a little bit of foam, and it's a group of bubbles, and then it's still looking like coffee, right? But then you go in, and it's just a bubble. And then it goes in, it looks inside of the bubble, and then inside of the bubble, underneath it, that bubble of foam on top of the coffee, it can look inside the bubble, and it can see the other smaller bubbles that bubble's resting. And then it focuses in on those, and it gets down to the crystals. Like there's like little, like they look like crystals at that level. It's really fascinating. And then the crystals get smaller, and you get down to one crystal, right? And so then at that point, I mean, you're just looking at it, it doesn't look like a cup of coffee anymore at all. And so the middle way people are going, and the higher middle way people are going to say that even that object doesn't exist. If you go looking for it,
You mean raw data?
The raw data, right? Like, so the long and the black, they're going to say even the long and the black is a projection of your mind. They're going to say it's a reasonable basis. It's reasonable to call that a pen, and it functions as a pen. But if you go looking for it, you're never going to find it. I mean, the same way that, like, is that camera is like focusing down in on that cup of coffee. Well, where is coffee, right? And it breaks up into things that just aren't even coffee-like from a human perspective, right? And from my current perspective. So lower middle way, 50-50. The long and the black really is there. Higher middle way, if you go looking for it, it's going to disappear. Even that's not there. It functions.
Self-existent.
Yeah, self-existently. So then the gotcha
will be different for these two schools.
Will be different for the two schools, right? So the gotcha for the higher middle way is anything that exists that isn't projected by your mind onto a reasonable basis, right? Anything that isn't coming 100% from you. That's the gotcha.
The husband who is, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. So then in both cases, they're going to say that the husband that exists because you didn't do anything. In both cases, they're going to say, well, that's the gotcha. But they're going to say, in the higher middle way, that husband's 100% from you, and the gotcha would be anything that isn't 100% coming from you. In the lower middle way, they're going to say that what's not existing. So in the lower middle way, that husband is 50-50, right? The husband who is like the round and the open and the
His
loud.
yelling mouths and his red face.
They're going to say that exists, but it's me experiencing yelling husband. That's coming from my mind. That's 50-50. And so they're going to say, in the lower middle way, the gotcha would be something that's 100% coming from myself, or
not coming,
or something that's 100% self-existent, right? It could be either one. For them,
anything that is different from 50-50.
Yeah, anything that's different from 50-50. So, and it's interesting to have these discussions because we're having one version or another of these wrong ideas. And it helps to examine them, right? To figure out why you're thinking the way you're thinking.
And honestly, it takes time to really understand these ideas. And the proofs of emptiness will help you. And it is coming in the next class. Because you need to listen to many different proofs that will not make sense to you when you will listen to them maybe for the first time. But the more you will think about them, the more they will make sense to you.
Yeah, it's we've been for countless lives, right? Like your mind exists beyond this body. And for countless lives, we've had a wrong idea of why the world is functioning the way it is, why the world appears the way it is. And so then, and we've been reacting wrongly to the world because we have a wrong idea of how it is. And so then if you understand it, then you can start to change it, right? And then ultimately, like examining these things, you'll develop an intellectual understanding of it. And then you'll meditate deeply. And then you'll see it directly, right? And you go, okay. So, and then they're also going to say that the higher middle way, right, is the school that we ultimately think is correct. And why is that useful, right? If something was still 50% out there, right? 50% out there, well, you can't change that. And we're going to say in the higher middle way that it's 100% out there, that you can change everything. And what's the importance of that, right? So what you're going to do is later on, when you go on to the advanced courses, if you do your 18 ACI courses and you get your homeworks done, then
and you will find your teacher who will accept you as a student in advanced teachings.
Yeah, do your courses, do your homework, do your best to live an ethical life, and then you'll get the higher teachings. And the higher teachings have two phases, right? You're going to use your knowledge to create an angel, right? There's two stages, creation stage and completion stage. Tibetan, Kirim, and Zogrim. And so in the first stage, you're going to use your knowledge of cause and effect and emptiness to create a literal angel. I mean, that's the point of it. Because why not, right? If it was 50%, then maybe you'd be stuck with a human that was a little better, right? But you're not stuck with a human that's a little better, that's 50% better. I mean, this is how you can create a literal angel. And it's how people, I mean, you've seen every culture has this idea of angels because people have done it in the past, right? They've been ethical enough. They've had enough goodness in their heart they've been able to create angels. It's why it's possible, right? Because it's 100% coming from you. And when you understand that, you can create an angel. And then in the second stage, the completion stage, you get them to teach you how to be an angel. It's how people, like you see historically, people talking to angels and gods, and it's how they did it, right? If it was
like Jason Kappa talking to Manjushri.
oh Jesus, Moses,
Jesus,
like
Moses.
it goes like almost every culture's had somebody that's done it, and it's possible because it's 100% coming from you. 50-50, they might be stuck with a better human. You're not stuck with a better human. You can change completely.
And even more important, this is how you can become an angel, right?
Yeah.
Because if there is something like 50%, forget about 50%, 1% self-existent in you, then you cannot really transform yourself into an enlightened being, because there is nothing in common between me and an enlightened being, right? Except my emptiness, which what I am empty of, right? It's not what I am.
Right. And you have the same emptiness as a Buddha. And the only reason the Buddha sees himself, herself as a Buddha is because they're projecting a different image onto the exact same emptiness. The exact same emptiness. So because you have that exact same emptiness, you can project a completely different image.
Yeah, but usually we are under the influence of illusion, and it is very important to understand what illusion really means.
Maya, Sanskrit word.
Maya, yeah. It's strange because Buddha's mom was Maya. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Does it mean anything? I don't know.
I can't tell you right now.
So the illusion
means nothing matters, right?
No.
Nothing matters. It's all illusion. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's interesting. Many people who come to these teachings and they heard a little bit, they maybe left the class when it was about the illusion subject, or I don't know what happened to them, misunderstood these teachings. They would say, oh, everything is an illusion. I mean, nothing matters. I can do what I want. Really, many people, they misunderstand in this way. Because there's something true in it. I mean, it's true that the reality, in a way, is an illusion, but they do not know the definition of the illusion, and the definition is important. Illusion is something that looks one way, but actually it's something else. It exists in another way. Illusion does not mean that everything does not exist and I can do what I want. I will not have any consequences. Because everything is an illusion, it looks one way, but actually it's not self-existent. My husband yelling at me, for example, looks like I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He had probably tough day at work or traffic jams, and he's tired, he's hungry, etc. But he exists in totally different way. He comes from me yelling in my seeds. I have planted seeds. They stay for a while. And then if I would not have the seeds, I would come home and he would hug me. But because I have the seeds, he has to yell at me because I was yelling at my kids.
The I didn't do anything to deserve this husband
is an illusion.
It looks like that. It's different than what you think it is.
Yeah.
That's an illusion. It's because it looks that way. It looks like, I was just cleaning, I was just cooking dinner and he yells at me. I didn't do anything.
And the lower middle way, which we are, if you are just started to do ACI courses, it will be a little bit strange for you that we jump from one school to another school. And when I was doing these classes myself, like, I don't know, 2015 probably or something, I had no idea that there are different schools. It was not clear to me at all. And then when I was training myself to be an ACI teacher, I realized, oh, wow, it's a different school. It's 50-50 school. This is why it's so weird. So in this lower middle way school, the shape and form exists from its own side. Like the husband exists from his own side, but the way how I see him, like interpret him, comes from me. So this is why I called for myself, I called the school my psychotherapist teachers school, because they would say, okay, you have a problem in your marriage. Of course, something comes from your husband, but there is a big part that you can work on from your own side, right? And by the way, if you will work on your interpretations of what he does and how he looks, this is just your interpretation. You can perceive it in a totally different way. So this is why I call them my psychotherapist teachers school.
Yeah, the powerful thing about emptiness is that you don't have to take that 50%. That other, the 50% that's the husband in the kitchen yelling at you. That's you don't have to deal with that 50%. You don't have to deal. You can change it all. I mean, you're gonna have to be on the receiving end of your karma of the prior causes, but you can change it all, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You ready to do the illusions? One more thing.
We did.
Okay. Well, but we got to talk about the magician.
Oh, okay. I think we didn't cover this question yet.
Oh, we did, but it's a little difficult in there. But yeah.
Oh, wait.
That's the 50-50 school.
I want to say something. Many people, they ask me to help them with their relationship. I kind of become this Buddhist relationship psychologist or something.
You're good at it, frankly.
So now, if you wanted an advice from me for free, then here it comes. You can fix your husband. He does not have to know that you are fixing him. If you understand this higher middle way illusions and emptiness stuff, if he comes 100% from your seeds, you don't have to even talk to him about you fixing him. You just fix it in your mind, you think, okay, he yells at me or whatever, he doesn't do the dishes, or he criticizes me or whatever. Okay, does it come from him or from something else? And more you will hear about him or something else at the next class. But okay, where does it come from? I should admit, because I did 18 ACI courses, I spent 8 years of my life to do them. I must admit that he comes from me. Not only my interpretation and what I hear, what I perceive, but also, the black and lone, right? Everything comes from me, from my seeds. You can say that other people have no willpower on their own, because everything they do comes from you. So you don't have to notify them that you are fixing your reality. You should just make a decision. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm fixing my reality. And you don't have to talk. You just need to identify the seed. Okay, he's criticizing me. Is there anybody I criticize and I should stop it? is there anybody I can do something opposite from criticizing, like praising their qualities? Then this is what I should do. And that's it. This is how you fix your reality. And it is very important not to get stuck on the negative qualities that you see, because the more you think of them, like kind of you are getting attached to these negative qualities, like, oh, he is criticizing me, or she is criticizing me, or he is angry, or she is conflicting constantly, you know. You are replanting the seeds. So you notice the problem, solution, problem, solution, problem, solution. This is how you can fix him.
It ends up being a Dharma joke, a pretty famous Dharma joke, right? Somebody would say, oh my gosh, my wife was so angry with me last night. She was self-existently angry. Everybody everywhere all the time would have seen her as angry. Even the Buddhists saw her as angry. She finally did it.
Yeah.
Or we used to have to eat, like Diamond Mountain was out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. And there were no restaurants around. And like the only place to eat was this truck stop, right? Like out in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, was this gas station truck stop. And you'd go and they'd have greasy, heavy food, and you'd feel horrible after eating it. And you could say, oh boy, that meal was so bad, it was self-existently bad, right? Like it was like everybody who ever ate it would always feel horrible. So anyway, let's do the magician.
Let's see if I don't think we actually really covered this one. Let's just give a definition. What does it mean in this school to exist?
And by this school, she means lower middle way.
Lower middle way, right?
Perfection of wisdom, lower middle way.
Yeah, Svatantrika, if you want. So what does it mean in this school to exist, for something to exist? First, there should be an object.
To exist deceptively.
Right, to exist in a deceptive way. There should be, something should appear to you, and you should perceive it with unimpaired state of mind.
Yeah.
So there should be two things. This is why 50-50. Something appears and you perceive it.
Yeah. Long and black is there and you're perceiving it. 50-50.
Okay, great. Now we come to your favorite part.
Yeah, the magician. Yeah, this is well, I'll tell the story about it because there's
they say it still exists in India.
Yeah, Geshe said that he's seen this. Apparently, in India, there are magicians, and they will go. They'll have an audience, and they'll have a stick, and they'll put the stick down, and then they'll use some dust somehow, right? And then the guy throws the dust and powder, and a horse will appear or an elephant, and everybody there in the audience will see the horse or the elephant. And I've looked for it online. I wanted to see, well, what are they doing, right? Like how are these, how is this old ancient magic trick happening? And I couldn't find a video for it. Maybe if somebody does, they'll send it. But Geshe said he's seen this magic trick. He said that he's actually seen people do this. And it gets used as an example of what is an illusion, right? Since we're talking about things that are different than what we think they are. And so this is a magic trick. This is an illusion. Do you want to talk about the different
yeah, sure.
There's gonna be three different people in this scenario. There's gonna be the magician, there's gonna be the audience, and there's gonna be somebody who walks in after the dust has been thrown, who wasn't part of the original magic trick. So
yeah. So what will happen to the audience? Because they are under the influence of the magic powder or the spell or whatever they use, they will see a stick turning into something else, like an animal, a horse, or an elephant. And it's interesting. They say that they really look alive. Like people, they are getting scared. They hear this loud sounds, like the elephant, and elephants, boy, they are big, and they can really destroy stuff. So people there, they start to shout and run, and it attracts even more audience. So then, because it attracts more audience, other people come. They are not under the influence of this powder, and they say, "There is no elephant. There's just a white stick." And then there is a magician who is also participating in it. And so this is three different perceptions types.
And so just to review real quickly, the audience sees the elephant, believes it's there. The magician also sees the elephant, knows it's not there, doesn't believe that the elephant is there. And then the latecomer doesn't see the elephant, just sees the stick, and doesn't think the elephant is there. And so then this is, and the reason why we're talking about this is because each one of these has a parallel to how we are seeing the reality, how different types of people see our own reality.
Yeah. So the audience that was there from the beginning, and who is under the influence of this power, are just sosokievos, right?
Normal people who've not had the direct perception of emptiness.
Yeah, who sees this illusion-like reality, deceptive reality, and they believe it. They believe things are self-existent from their own side, right? Existing.
Yep, they think the elephant is there.
The magician is a metaphor for an Arya, basically, or a bodhisattva who has seen emptiness directly, but he's back after his Jetopyasha.
Yeah, somebody who's had the direct perception of emptiness recently for the first time.
And they had the wisdom of the aftermath. So they have seen this, they have perceived this four Arya truths, and then they're done. They're back to deceptive reality, vision, right? They see things as self-existent, but they do not believe it anymore.
Yeah.
Because they know they are under the influence.
Yeah. They're still seeing the elephant, but he knows it's not really there, right? Audience sees the elephant, believes it's there. The magician, after his direct perception of emptiness, still sees the deceptive element, but knows it's not there. And then the third person is a latecomer, somebody who's just arrived, and they're seeing a stick, and they don't think the elephant, and they don't have any idea that any wrong idea about the elephant being there. Yeah. And so this was always the tricky one, right? Like, so what is that person?
This person is not a Buddha yet, but somebody who is in direct, a bodhisattva who is in direct perception of emptiness and does not see the illusion.
Yeah, and this was tricky for me. I was like, well, why couldn't the Buddha be this third person, right? The Buddha's not fooled. The Buddha doesn't think that stick is an elephant, right? And so the difference between the latecomer who is seeing the stick and not seeing the elephant is that would have to be somebody who could only see one or the other, right? I mean, the latecomer is seeing things for the way they are. They're seeing ultimate reality. A Buddha or a bodhisattva at the eighth level bodhisattva, eighth bhumi, or beyond, remember, they can see both deceptive reality and ultimate reality at the same time. And so that's why it's not a Buddha, right? The Buddha's not confused, but he could see both the stick and the elephant at the same time, which that's not the latecomer in this situation. The latecomer's only seeing the stick.
Mhm. Yeah, okay.
That confused me for a long time.
Okay, and that was the last question for this class.
Yeah,
And we're done.
that's all I have for this one. I know it's a lot, but you'll come back to both the idea of a gotcha, now that you have it, now that this idea, now that this seed has been planted in your head, you'll never let go of that. It's one of the most fundamental ideas in Buddhism, right? It's one of the most powerful ideas in Buddhism, in this philosophy. And the example of the magician, it will stay with you for years, right? These are big, huge like ideas. Really, really fun to discuss because they're very powerful.
Yeah. And at the next class, we will start something really sexy. Because, I mean, you will have to hear thousands of proofs of emptiness in order to really stabilize this worldview inside of your mind. They're profound, and we will start to teach them in 1 hour and a half. So no, 2 hours. 2 hours, right?
Well, the Geshe Swanson Towers in 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when do we start our class?
Uh,
After that, how long does Swanson Tower last for?
1 hour and a half, and we start the class right away, right, Lena? Because of Swanson Tower,
So-
I'm getting lost with
So so at 10:30, we'll start our class 10:30 Central Time.
Yeah, okay, 10:30 Central of the Earth, Chicago time. Or it will be
Is that right? Is that
5:30 European time.
So 10:30 is the correct time.
Okay.
So you got 25 minutes to relax and let your brain uncramp.
Yeah, and let's finish the class with the prayer. We will do it in Tibetan, unlike other times. And you don't have to do it in Tibetan. Just I love it. Sashi Puki Jukshin Mitok Tram Rira Blikshin Yindegapadi Sangye Shindu Mikte Ovagi Trokun Dakshinla Chupasho Idam Guru Vatnam Dalakam Niryatayam Evadi Keokon Sanam Yeshe Zokzokshin Sanam Yeshe Lejunve Tampa Kuni Tupan Shog.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you everybody for being here.
Thank you, translators. You are amazing. Thank you,
Yeah, we need to come up,
organizers, technical team.
we need to come up with some kind of signal if we're talking too fast, right? Like maybe you guys could put something on the chat or something. So
They always do.
okay. Yeah. Am I just not seeing it?
You don't.
All right. Okay. Watch Geshe Michael do his thing, and then we'll see you
In 2 hours.
in 2 hours.